set up here, and we're going to make sure that you guys can hear us. There we go, that's a little better. Look at that. Tricky Ricky, what is up? Can you hear me okay? Let me know. Just waiting for the thing to start here. So I've got my laptop set up. It's a little weird because everything's delayed. Huh. Yes, all good. Perfect. Thank you, guys. So welcome back. It's been 2 weeks since we did our last live. And of course, in those 2 weeks, we went to JetPower in Germany. And what a blast. I'm all by my lonesome tonight here in the shop, which is totally okay because this is how I wanted to do this live tonight. So I've got my laptop here in front of me, and it's a little bit out of your guys' sight, but I can see all your comments as well too. So I think this is the best way to deal with this. I think that's pretty slick. So anyways, I wanted to go over the stuff that we brought back from JetPower. Not tons of stuff because I didn't bring entire moving van. I would have loved to have a moving van there with me. And if that event was local, I would have bought a lot of stuff because they had a lot of cool stuff there. So yeah, if you guys have any comments or questions, feel free to ask away as we go through these parts that I brought back. Nez has been ridiculously lovey today. And while I was trying to set all this up, she's already been on my shoulder about 4 times. So anyways, JetPower was awesome. It was tons of fun. Absolutely amazing event. If you've never been, I would suggest you try and go because it is an absolute, it's like Disneyland for jets. It is so much fun. There's so much to see. Today's video on the regular channel was the whole JetPower event, basically. So if you haven't seen that, I encourage you to check it out. I think it's like 50 minutes long or something, 50, and it is so good. So hey, Kenneth, it was amazing. So what happened? The first day we got there was Thursday. We don't show any of Thursday in the video. It was kind of a recovery day, just stay up as late as we can, go to bed, woke up on Friday, went to JetPower for day number 1, and it was super cool. So we basically got so much done on day 1. Hey Fred, hey David. Fred, I'll get to your question in a second. We did so much on day number 1, kind of walked around the show, talked to a bunch of people, got all that stuff done. Day 2, walked around everything again, and like, you know, you'd been to a booth 2 or 3 times, but then you go there and there's just more stuff to see. So yeah, it was a completely mind-blowing event. The flights going on were amazing. The stuff from all the different companies and stores and suppliers was amazing too. So yeah, it was absolutely awesome. So had a blast. Fred, you asked if we ordered one of the giant F4s. I didn't order one, but Mr. Jet Guy has the very first production F4 from Carf coming to the shop. That plane is a little bit out of my price range. Maybe in the future it will end up being in my price range. I don't know, but it's such a cool plane. And all the flights they did were both of the F4s at the same time, and it was stunning. So, absolute blast. Yeah, so if you guys have any questions about JetPower, ask away. I'm just gonna go over all the stuff we brought back. Really, it's, I mean, kind of exciting stuff, not really exciting stuff, depending on how you look at it. So, anyways, I'm just gonna go through this stuff one by one. One of the really cool things about JetPower is there would often be, and if you watch Martin Pickering's walkthrough, I think he pretty much covers everything really well. But if you, oh yeah, you guys can see this in the camera. So if there's some stores set up and they've just got like this kind of size of bin, and they just have hundreds of these bins all lined up, and they are filled with things like the offset hinges and latches, like canopy latches, like just everything. So I brought back some pretty lame stuff, some canopy latches, some offset hinges, and that was the little parts I brought back. Again, if I had more space, because I only travel with a backpack, I would have brought back a lot more stuff. Sheldon, your question for David, short nose or long nose? Short nose, of course. Long nose is ugly, in my opinion. But we do have the short nose coming. So that is the little doodads that we brought back. Electron, the new manual controller. Just pull that out of the bag so it's not so crinkly. So this is the new manual controller. This replaces the other little electron box that you could manually control your gear with. So did I need this? No, but this is a bit of a time saver and makes things a little bit more simple. One of the reasons is it uses a XT60 plug on the bottom versus the other controller has an MPX plug, the green one. And this one has the yellow, what is that one called? I forget what the connector's called, but anyways, the 2-pin yellow ones, like the mini XT60s on the output side. So we do have to make a couple adapter plugs because I got the standard cable here, but we'll need some adapter plugs for servo leads and ashlock leads. But this is kind of a highlight to bring back, one of those silly little things. And one of the cool things about it is you don't have to do the little dip switches anymore. If you're familiar with the previous one, there's 2 little switches. So depending on the combination, it would work for ER30s, ER40s, ER50s. And now you just push the button and it picks a color is what it does. So yeah, so anyways, that's one of the cool little tools I brought back. FCT UAT. So I did order a Rebel Hot for myself in the magenta color scheme. So it's I think I talked about this on the last live. It's the magenta color scheme in the infinity scheme. Is that right? I think it's the infinity scheme, and then the orange is switched out to magenta or the pinky color. Anyways, I needed a UAT for that. And while I was there, I picked up the Flight Composite Tech UATs. Very likely that we will start stocking these in our online shop as well. So if you regularly purchase 3D parts or stuff from our shop, these things will be most likely available on the shop relatively soon. So keep an eye out for that. My buddy Stacy, he bought one of the taxi tanks, which is super cool. The taxi tank is the huge, big thing, and it's kind of like a huge version of a UAT is what it is. But he's been wanting one of those for a long time, so he finally got one of those. Let me get that out of the way. So, Fred, you said I saw another video on them. Huge. Yes, they are huge. And we've got, well, the F4 that we've been working on, I guess we can talk about that too after we go through all this stuff. But the F4, there's 2 more videos coming out, but obviously it's done. The main fuselage is in that box right now. So we're creating it up. It's going to ship out on Monday, Tuesday is the plan for it. So the Skymaster F4 is big. It's a big plane, but the CARF one I think is like 4 feet longer than that one. Crazy, so crazy. Maybe 3 feet, 4 feet, something like that. Let's see here. So Kenneth, you said, are you going to try the servos with the wire coming out of the bottom? Yes. So that is CHA servos. So if you're not familiar with that, CHA servo. is the company. I did a little overview of their products while I was there. It was awesome for them to take us through all their products, and we got a good look at everything. And they've got a really nice servo lineup. So they kindly set with a bunch of their servos. Just making sure this is coming through properly. So I'll go through all of these with you guys, and we'll be running these things through the normal testing process, and very likely we'll be trying some of these out on upcoming projects. Yeah, we'll see how things go with that. So we've got, sorry, I'm just listening to Nez get into trouble back there. We've got, they've got quite a servo lineup. I got a couple different versions. So the first one is this guy here, which is a standard size servo, but in a short format. So something similar to this would be like a 599 SL, which I used in the Rebel builds. And you can basically save about 50% weight on your servos, and you can lose like a pound and a half on your entire aircraft using the shorter servos. They still have lots of power. So for a normal size aircraft, I mean, you look at this, 8.4 volts, you're 40 kilograms, which is tons of power. So yeah, anyways, that's the smaller servo. This is the flat mount, and they also come in like a regular style mount as well. So that's one of the four. The other one, we'll go to their Bad Mama Jamma servo. This thing is really beefy. So this is the HV7010. So one of the cool things that was mentioned in the comments there, and also in the video, the overview video, is all of their servos, the lead comes out of the bottom. I'll open this one up and show you guys. And then if we look at the actual power on this thing, so 8.4 volts, you're at 70 kilograms, 972 ounces. So tons of power on this thing. Let me open this thing up. So the other nice thing about this, this 7010 servo is it comes with a servo arm. Yes, other servos come with a servo arm, but there's a reason for that. And that is because they have an 8mm output shaft. The stock one or standard one that we're used to seeing on most normal servos is a 6mm. So in MKS world, this is similar to a 3850 type servo. The little thing, the servo lead coming out of the bottom is nice because you don't have to try and get that in sideways, and comes with a huge fixing bolt there as well. So nice to see. Really impressed with this thing, and again, we'll be cycling these, putting them through their paces, and putting them on an upcoming project. So yeah, so that's nice to see. So those are the two kind of fancier ones that we've got, and then we've got the two of the DS20s. This is kind of the budget lineup of servos. So when you get to this one, they were saying in the video that the case is plastic, the middle part is aluminum, so that's pretty common on a lot of our servos that we're used to seeing. And then you've got 8.4 volts, you've got 26 kgs, 361 ounces. So this is not a brushless servo. And yeah, 2 ball bearings. Those other big ones have 6. So just a different category of servo, but something like this, great servo. If I was to compare this to something, this would be like I'm going to compare it to stuff that I'm familiar with. So MKS 1220 HV, high voltage, is what this would be comparable to. Very similar servo. And then we got 2 of the little micro servos. These things are nuts. So I'll open this one up and I'll show you guys the specs. These things are so small. So they showed me a video of these servos on a foam indoor aircraft, like an aerobatic aircraft with huge surfaces. The speed on this thing is 0.05 seconds, a 2.4 kg servo, and it is absolutely microscopic. So crazy, just teeny weeny. So again, the servo lead comes out of the bottom, the wire is very small, and then they've got a standard servo plug on there. So those are the servos from Cha Servo, and there's servo arms in there as well. So yeah, very cool. So that was the servo side of things. Two more things to look at here. This little package, and then we've got, let's look at the questions here. Hey Josh, thank you for watching the JetPower video. Being there was cool. I'm glad I got to share everything with you guys. Yeah, the servo lead coming out of the bottom is a very good idea. The big servos, what's the speed on them? I don't know if it says that. Oh yeah, the speed. So the speed at 8.4 volts is 0.10, which for a high torque servo is pretty fast. So the 7010 is 0.10 for speed. Sal from Flight Systems RC said, glad you had a good time. Did you happen to see the power box servos with the removable wire? I did not. I never went closer than 10 feet to the power box booth. If you're a fan of the channel and you've watched content before, you know why. If you're not a fan of the channel and you haven't watched my content before, go watch the radio test and you'll know why. So I really wanted to go take a look at their stuff, but no, I did not get a chance to see those servos, unfortunately. All right, Nez is, sorry guys, pause for a sec. Nez is climbing all over stuff over here. Nezzy, you can't be up there, buddy. It's her evening runaround time. All right. Yeah, so I did not see Powerbox. Moonlight Jake, I noticed you don't use safety wire on your airlines. Have you ever had a leak? And if so, what was the source? In your personal jets, what do you use for your T's and lines? Okay, so good question. Actually, hold on to that and I will get back to you. I'm just going to cover these last two things. So we did have a gas bar from Chikoi. It is Chikoi, not Zyakoi. Gas bar from Chikoi was there, and he gave me 2 boxes of some stuff. So he basically just dropped off an installation kit, 2 of them actually. One we're using in a project right now, and we got some extra parts and stuff here. So. But he didn't have a booth there, but he was there for the day, and we met up with him on Friday. And the last thing, and this was stuff that like was just crazy to find. So if you know BVM, you probably have seen these bits before. These are the ones in all different sizes for grinding and stuff. So something like this, I think these were €6, I believe, for that entire kit, which was crazy. So that's like $10. Not even $9, something like that. And then I forgot one more thing that I stuffed in my backpack. So I got some sheets of G10. This is the 2mm size. I use this stuff all the time. And I think for these 2 sheets, it was also €6. So that's $9, which was super awesome. So again, if I had a better way to bring things home, I would have brought back a stack of different sizes. So some of the other little pieces that we scored. So that's all of our take-home stuff that we brought back. Nothing overly exciting. We didn't bring any planes with us, but we got some cool ideas on some future projects. Moonlight Jake, thank you. You sent $10. I appreciate that very much. That's super cool. Okay, to get back to your question, Moonlight Jake, you said about the airlines. So I can't remember what video it was that we covered this in. I think it might have been the F-14 XXL version, but we'll take a Skymaster aircraft, for example. So if you're dealing with Skymaster's landing gear, and I don't have any to show you because it's all packed away, but if you're dealing with Skymaster's landing gear, 95% of the time, The nipples coming out of the landing gear and on the air cylinders will have a very sharp barb. Sometimes they'll have a very rounded barb. So on the cases where I'm using SkyMaster Airline with the sharp barb, if you put that on, it's almost, I mean, not impossible obviously, but you're stretching the tube to get it off there by pulling on it. The barbs that are rounded, I do use wire on them. The struggle is if you're trying to use 2 wraps of wire, it's tough to get it tightened up properly. You can also damage the airline. So what I will usually do is I'll take some of the black CA, which is the rubberized CA. And I did this on the F4 Phantom. I don't think I really covered it in the video, but this stuff right here. So I'll put some of this on the fitting over the air cylinder and everything, use kicker on it, and this just kind of helps keep it in place. Yeah, I'm not a fan of using safety wire on the airlines as long as everything's holding nicely. Now what I do, so all of our bigger air gear aircraft, like the SkyMasters, we put a compressor in them. So coming out of the compressor, we'll use 4mm the Teflon line. We'll step it down to 3mm and we'll use Festo Airline, specifically Festo Airline. From the tanks, we've got 2 pieces of SkyMaster tubing. That comes to a Festo T. So the SkyMaster tubing is very difficult to put over a Festo blue press-on T, not the fittings you push into, but the barb fittings. And then from that T off the airlines, we'll also use Festo tubing. Those 2 systems will come together on a Festo T, and from there we use SkyMaster Airline. The Festo tubing doesn't hold well on stuff that's not Festo. And the reason for that is the Festo tubing has very thin wall. So the last thing you'd want to do is you don't want to take apart the entire air system on your SkyMaster aircraft and replace it all with Festo tubing. The Festo tubing will not hold very well on all of the stock fittings on the landing gear and also the air cylinders powering all the doors and brakes and stuff like that. So that's a huge no-no. I see lots of guys doing it, and there's some guys building some very large aircraft. I won't name any names, but I know of a few offhand that have put together some large SkyMaster aircraft with Festo Airline everywhere, and it's not a good idea. Whew, that was long-winded. Slapnuts RC, Savix or MKS? MKS. I'm not a fan of Savix servos. I'm not a huge fan of having built-in Expo in my servos. I said it. Thanks, Sal. I'm glad you've forgotten about it. They haven't. Where's the other 5 bags? That's it. That's all I brought back. Nothing exciting. I didn't even bring any clothing back, I don't think. No, I didn't bring anything back for clothing-wise. The stuff at the clothing booth was insanely expensive. Like if you wanted a t-shirt, I think it was 70 euros. It was crazy expensive. Philip, yes, those big servos, I think they definitely have enough power for the 3D airplane. And that's, so all the team members, if you saw the picture with me and all the guys, all those guys are pilots. So, and that's why they included the servo arm, because for situations exactly like you're talking about, where you've got the nice big servo arm, 8mm shaft, output shaft. So yes, Nick, it was an absolute hoot for sure. Damien said, what do you use to cut the G10? I have destroyed bandsaw blades. I've tried diamond Dremel wheels, but that's a bit clumsy. So for the G10, I use my bandsaw. It works good. I also use my bandsaw to cut carbon fiber, but my bandsaw blades, they're a bimetal blade, so they're like a hacksaw blade. If you don't have the ability to do that, I can show you one other thing that I used to do. I'll take you on a little walk here. So with this one right here, this Rockwell saw, it's like a jigsaw, but in a table format. That thing's actually for sale right now. Nobody's picked it up yet. All my other little hand tools people picked up. But for the jigsaws, you can get a ceramic or diamond blade, which actually is, obviously it's smooth, right? It's just using the friction of the blade. But that's what I used to use in this to cut carbon fiber and G10. It's the only thing that wouldn't dull. The regular blades or even the bimetal blades, because you're only using this much of the blade, it dulls the blade after one use. But I find with my bandsaw, my blades stay good. So this blade here is one that I've had on there, and I get these ones custom made from, I can't remember where in the US, but the difference in teeth there, that's normal. So you'll see the teeth go tall and short, tall and short. But this blade here, I've cut lots of that stuff with it and it's still good. And then my other blade that I was using before, so this is like your typical bimetallic blade. This is the one that I had on there. Great for cutting carbon fiber in G10. The problem is whenever I was wanting to cut wood, it just took too long. So that's why I switched it out. But this is kind of my favorite blade for most of the stuff that we do, and then also cutting metal too. All right, see if there's any more questions, and then we will take a look at what's in the box. All right. I just flipped you off, did I? I don't realize I did that, so it wasn't intentional. Those bespoke cockpits were just nuts. Yeah, absolutely stunning. Some of that stuff is just mind-blowing, the detail. There was, I took a close-up look of an L39 that was there, and I mean, just nuts, so nuts. Yeah, so that's that, cool. So we'll take a look at what's in the box and what's coming up. We've got the F4 boxed up. This is what we were working on today. And this actually worked out differently than I thought. So initially, I had the fuselage split. So the front part of the fuselage is in the bottom of the box. That's the back part of the fuselage. My initial intention was just to put the front and midsection of the fuselage in here and kind of stack the missiles and drop tanks and everything else in there. And when we got the thing made, it's actually not that wide. So I made it, I'm just going to measure it here for you. So I made it, 22 inches wide, and it's 24 tall, I think. Yeah, 24 tall. So when I did the base and then did the sides, I was looking in there and thinking, man, I think we might be able to put the rear part of the fuselage in here. So initially, I was going to take the rear part of the fuselage, the wings, and maybe the other surfaces and kind of build another big kind of squarish shaped crate. But with that, the tail section in there and all the missiles, and we've got our wing tips on the sides, rudders right there, vertical stab, sorry. Nez really wants to go to Norway, but she unfortunately has to stay. We got a lot of stuff packed in there, so it worked out really well. And yeah, there's no room for anything else, so this is what it is. And the nose cone's there. So anyways, lots of stuff in there. So all we have left to fit in another box or crate, whatever you want to call it. So we've got our two wings, which are pretty big. And I was hoping to get more of the other stuff in there because then we could just do a nice small wing box. But we still have the two wings. We've got one of the sets of belly missiles. We've got the horizontal stab, which kind of is the suckiest part because it's got such a big angle to it that like actually it wouldn't even fit in here. If we weren't putting anything else in there, the horizontal stab wouldn't fit. So we've got that stuff to put in, and then we've got our 2 of our cluster bombs and our 2 pipes. So yeah, but it won't be that bad. It'll be better than I thought it was going to be, and that's what we have left to crate up and get it shipped out. So hey Kelly, how are ya? Nice to see you. Damien, thanks. I'm in Australia. I'll look around for a bimetal. Yes, I'm a Powerbox user and hold no grudges. Well, that's good. That's good. Thank you for not holding any grudges. Awesome. So yeah, that's basically that stuff. Next thing in the queue, once we get that crated up and the other thing behind me crated up, is the Bronco is starting next. So the Bronco is going to be our next project we get done. After the Bronco, we are getting the Super Bandit and the, Picarito wrapped up as well. So those are the next projects in the queue. Let's see, get this camera set up again. So I'm not sure when my Rebel Hot is supposed to arrive, but we'll get that thing built as well. It's going to be a little rocket ship as well. Oh, Moonlight J, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's you know, if we're sending, so kind of in response to Nick's statement there, if we were sending this ground, we would have kept the fuselage together most likely, and we wouldn't have thought of separating the rear section, because there is a fair bit of work. Like when this shows up, you've got to bolt the rudder on, you've got to put the 2 pipes in, put the fuselage sections together, which isn't so bad, do up the 4 fasteners. Then you've got to flip the fuselage over, take the engines, well, undo the engine screws, just slide them forward, do the pipes up, redo the engines, and then it's basically done. So there's really not a ton to do. But yeah, if we were shipping this ground in North America, that crate would be bigger and heavier, and we wouldn't be so concerned with space. Because this is getting shipped by air, we're trying to make it as small and compact as possible. Now that's pretty heavy. If I had to guess, it's probably 125 pounds, but it's not huge. So it's under 8 feet long. It's, I think, 89 inches long or 86 or something long, and then 22 wide, 24 tall. So not bad. Moonlight Jake said, while using a gyro in my jets, is it better to use a faster servo or anything above 0.12? In jets, it really doesn't matter. So you're going to find that that the torque is more important than the speed. Typically, and the reason I say that is typically with turbine aircraft jets, your surfaces are moving such a small amount for a huge reaction. So, you know, if you think about when you're up flying and you're just cruising around, obviously it's going to depend on your expo setting. But if you do a nice slow aileron roll, you're only moving that stick a couple millimeters maybe. And then when your aircraft's on the ground, if you took your stick and moved that, you're probably only moving that surface a couple millimeters. Different than, let's say, an aerobatic aircraft, a 3D aircraft, where your surfaces are huge surfaces moving a huge amount. So on turbine aircraft, I actually never look at the speed ever of servos. Like something like this one here, that speed number makes no difference to me whatsoever. The torque is always what I look for, the power, and that's more important to me than the speed. So, let's see here. Thanks, Kelly. Appreciate it. Kelly said, I used to have an aggressive carbide bandsaw blade, but it broke for cutting G10. Yeah. Those guys there, I can't remember where I got them from. I think I ordered them from somewhere in the US. Oh, you know what? I think I put the card inside. Like any smart person would do. No, I didn't. But yeah, I've got a bit of a weird, well, they're all weird sizes, but yeah, that's my size there. So it was a little bit odd size. So finding one at a store with a bimetal blade was not easy. And that's why I ordered one. Kelly said, I received crushed BVM wing tanks from UPS. The tanks were literally flattened. Yeah, it happens. It happens. You're welcome, Moonlight. Thank you so much for your questions and also your support there. I appreciate that. That's very cool. So as far as new stuff goes, I think that is pretty much it. The F4, let's see, I'm just thinking back. So if you guys were on the live 2 weeks ago, you got to see the engine runs, and that portion of the video actually is going to come out like a week and a half from today. So it's quite a ways in the future. That's the final video, is when we do those engine runs. But yeah, the F4 turned out very nice. The owner's ecstatic with it. It looks great. I think he's going to have a ton of fun flying that thing. Some of the final thoughts with that, I don't have the manual anymore because it's in the box. So that plane without fuel came in at 59.75 pounds. So I say 60, I think, is what I said in the video. So it holds 10 liters of fuel, and 10 liters of kerosene or Jet A weighs 1.8 pounds per liter. So you got 18 pounds of fuel. So that F4 full of fuel is going to weigh 78 pounds. And if you tack on smoke, you're going to be, you are 83, 84 pounds full. And that's got two 195s in there. So that's going to be a blast to fly that thing. So looking forward to it. It'll be tons of fun. Yes, Kelly, I am about to get busy very, very soon. Stuff we've got coming, guys. While we were in JetPower, talked with Carf, and we're discussing the arrival of the first F4 kit. And it's scheduled for early 2025, as I believe I said in the video, the overview video. So that's coming early 2025. The goal is to have it here like February, March, maybe. And obviously have time to get it done so we can get to Montana for Jets Montana. And we've got I think the next one that's going to show up is going to be the Skymaster F15. So Doug Boyle from Jets North got his, and shows up in a wood crate. We saw one when we were at JetPower, which was cool to see one in person. The thing is huge. It's like a huge flying saucer. It's so big. And that's probably going to be the first big aircraft that shows up for the 2025 season. We've got another Su-30 coming, which will probably be sometime early 2025. And then we've also got a Carf F100 coming, and I suspect that will probably be maybe early 2025 as well. So we have lots of things still in the queue. So we've got the Bronco to get done. We've got the Picarito, the Picaro 2.0, Super Bandit, and then we've got some other cool ones too. We've been waiting on that pattern plane to get going. I want to finish my T-33 from BVM this year as well. And we've also got an Apache helicopter back there too. So lots of projects to get done this winter, and some other irons in the fire as well. All right. Moonlight Jake, thank you. You're spoiling me. So Moonlight Jake said, me and my friend both have FB Jets F-15Cs with single turbines, both running King Tech 320s. In the process of building, should upgrade our pipes. No, I don't think so. That the FB Jets pipe is, from what I've seen, is good. You know, if you were to get, for example, Hype Custom Pipes to do up a bifib pipe for you, that wouldn't be the worst idea in the world. He is the fellow that used to make the pipes for TAMS. So as far as bipipes go, that's who I would recommend. You know, pipes are always a bit of a tough thing, and I'll show you some. I'll take you back here actually. So we've got that little pipe right there. This is the. I'm just going to pull it out. This is the jet pipes. So Joe Tamaz, this is one of the last pipes that he made for his passing. And, you know, when you get an upgraded pipe like this, you know, this pipe was designed for up to a 250 Newton engine is what Joe said. And for that aircraft right there, which is a 2-meter aircraft. So, you know, if you do get an upgraded pipe, generally it's going to be a thicker wall on the inner pipe, which is the most important. And that's really what we needed in this case. And then also the sizing is very important as well. So, you know, if your pipe diameter is too narrow, you're going to be restricting your turbine. So that was one of the important things to get for that guy. But then if you look at the stock Elite Aerosports pipes, so this is the one for my BDX, I think. Yes. So this is the stock BDX pipe. It works fine as long as you're sticking to the right turbine size. So if you're putting a 190 or a 210 in a BDX, this pipe is perfect. It's sized well for it. It's actually pretty thick as well. The one thing I don't specifically like about these stock pipes is they're done up in pieces, right? So you've got 1 piece, 2 pieces, 3 pieces to make the entire length. So when you look in there, I'll put this up here so you can see it. So when you look in there, you've got some additional seams down the pipe, right? So where that weld is right there in the middle of the screen, you've got seams all down the pipe. So not that that's a bad thing, but yeah, it's not, you know, not the worst thing in the world to get a better pipe, I would say. That's the stock Razor pipe, which is a little bit thinner than the BDX material. Maybe it's the same, but you can see the size difference in length there. So to answer your question, I think upgrading your pipe isn't a terrible idea. Generally what we would do here is we would check the quality of the stock pipe and kind of go from there. You know, if you look at the stock pipe and you see any open welds, any joints that are questionable, materials thin, yeah, a new pipe is, you know, it could be the savior of your aircraft. You know, the worst possible thing is your pipe collapses or something comes, you know, a weld opens up or something, your aircraft's garbage. You know, if it's in the air and that happens, it's going to burn to the ground. There's really no saving it because it's going to happen very fast. Nick, great results weight-wise on the Rhino. Thank you. I know I need a bigger shed. I definitely need a bigger shed. I need a bigger shop is what I need. So we need something about twice the size. And partly just for storage. It's actually really empty right now. You know, you look around and like we have no big aircraft in here. The biggest aircraft we have, I guess, is the Bronco, but it's in pieces. You have my BDX behind you guys, which is in pieces, or not in pieces, but it's there. Wings aren't on, obviously. And then we've got 2 A10s over there, which now those A10s seem really small, actually. Remember back in the day when they used to be huge. And now they just look like little tiny baby A10s over there. So, oh yeah, the for sale thing is up on the website, guys. So if you're not, if you haven't checked that out yet, I think lots of people have checked it out because my website traffic went way up. But the F-18 that's up there is listed on the website. We're probably going to be adding a PC21 in the next week. That's a SkyMaster PC21 in the Canadian scheme. It's not one I built, but it's one that is owned by a close friend. And that's a good deal. It's a great flying aircraft. He's just looking at moving on from it. And we'll probably be adding an F-16 from SkyMaster very soon. One I didn't build, and that one is located in California. So that's part of it too, is when you look at the website and you look at the aircraft that are going up on the website, pay attention to where they're located, because that obviously can change how easy it is to get to you or not. So, oh, cool. Thanks, Moonlight Jake. I appreciate it. You know, it's reflecting on JetPower over the past week. So I've been home now for, we got home on Monday afternoon. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So I've been home for 5 days. Been able to reflect on JetPower as a whole. And I mean, there was a lot of highlights from the trip. Just the trip in general was amazing. You know, to actually make that happen, thank you for, I mean, the person who made it happen is watching. Thank you very much for making that happen. Definitely a life-changing thing, and it's a bucket list item for sure. So thank you, David, for making JetPower happen and making that all possible. So, you know, that was one of the huge highlights from just being able to go there. The great hospitality, the food, the accommodations, just the event in general was cool. Seeing so many people come up to me and say, thank you for your videos, it's so cool to meet you. I mean, that was a huge highlight for me. And I tried to get pictures with everybody and put those pictures in the overview video. So that's why all those pictures are at the end of the video. So I wanted to say thanks to everybody that came up and said hi. And I gotta say, one of probably the highlights for me, you know, if I go back 10 years to 2013, maybe 2010, when I first started in the jet side of things, you know, there were some guys that I looked up to, like Martin Pickering, like Dave Wilshire, Ali Machinchi. You know, I've watched Rami RC's stuff for a long time. And for me, getting to meet those guys was a huge, cool thing. It was, I mean, if you couldn't tell by the smile, I had a perma smile for 3 days while we were at the event. It was awesome. But probably the highlight for me is we were walking to the flight line. Martin Pickering and Rami RC were doing some video stuff, and then they're coming back. And I said, hey guys, how are you? Can I get a picture with you? And, you know, I walked up to Rami, said hi to him, shook his hand, and he's like, oh my gosh, it's nice to meet you. I love your videos. You do such cool stuff. I watch your videos, like, so cool. So, you know, that picture of the three of us on that thumbnail, pretty cool stuff, because I watch all of Martin Pickering's stuff. I watch Rami RC's stuff, and they watch my stuff. We all watch each other's stuff. And it's just cool to be able to be there with those guys and be able to go through that experience. So that was a few of my highlights of JetPower. That one picture was a huge highlight. And then also on the last day, me and Martin spent 20 to 30 minutes. We were in the tent together and just chatted. It was great. I had a great conversation with Martin Pickering, and everybody kind of left us alone. It was awesome, and we were just talking YouTube and stuff and everything. It was so much fun. So yeah, just wicked highlights. Also got some people lined up for our podcast as well too. So we've got some great contacts for our podcast coming up. So just tons of fun. Yeah, really looking forward to it. So. Brain overload for sure? Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it was a lot. There's a lot going on all the time. So, I mean, the weather wasn't amazing. It was cold. But you could go to JetPower, you could sit on the flight line all day and just sit there and watch the aircraft fly, because it's so well organized that all of the people that are invited to fly, whether you're a vendor, a company, a pilot that's invited to fly, whatever it is, it's so well scheduled that there's always a plane in the sky, and it's just boom, 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 boom. It's so awesome. So you could go there, and if the weather was nice, we would have sat at the flight line more, but you can go there and just sit at the flight line for an entire day. And I mean, there's beer gardens, it's a phenomenal experience. So if you're ever thinking about going, yes, go. Michael, I did get your email with the pictures from your crash and repair. It's been a really busy week. I didn't get back to you right away, but I did look at all your pictures. You did a great job on that repair. Looks very good, very impressive. Ward, where are you? No, Ward was here earlier today helping me crate the F4 up. I went to my daughter's volleyball game, and I told him, don't come back tonight, because this is just going to be a kind of a small chat about JetPower is what it's going to be. So. Yeah, I kicked you out, exactly. In Germany, it's always beer. Yes, beer everywhere. So wild. Yeah. So guys, that is, I think that's caught everything up. If you have any final questions, ask away. Yeah. So we did get some new contacts. We're going to have some more products coming to the web store. So FCT UATs, we're going to be adding those to the store. Yeah, I won't mention anything else specifically right now until it's 100%. So yeah, working on some things. So it's very, very good. Yeah, I think that about wraps it up, guys. We're 50 minutes. So, Moonlight Jake, are you planning on doing any events in Southern California? We were going to be at Best in the West, but Best in the West is canceled. So unfortunately, that won't be happening. Jets Over California, we went to this year. I think it was early in the year. I can't remember when it was, but chances are we may go back for next year as well. I was at LA a couple times this year at the Apollo Field, once just for just to be there, I think. And then the other time was for LA Jets, which was a few weeks back. So yeah, I'm in California, not a lot, but I'm in California a reasonable amount. So you're welcome, Slapnuts. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, the fuel bags, oh my gosh. So Salim, when I got to his booth and we got over the introductions and stuff, the fuel bags are amazing. Now, not every fuel bag is like that, I don't think. But when he told me to stand on that thing, so I think it's in the video, like I'm like, okay, I'm not going to put all my weight on it. And he's like, no, stand on it. So I stood on it, and when I was holding the counter, I was just holding myself for balance. So like 200 pounds on that fuel bag, no issues. When I was chatting with Martin, he actually said, he jumped on it. Salim was like, jump on the fuel bag. So he was jumping up and down on the fuel bag. So crazy. So I don't know what people's issues are in Canada with the fuel bags. I'm glad you guys in the US can use them now. I'm very jealous because we don't have approval yet. Hopefully it comes soon, because those things are nuts. If I was to take one of our fuel tanks, pump it up with air, and stand on it, it's not surviving. It's probably going to smash. So crazy. So crazy. So Sheldon, will Servo have a North American distributor soon? We'll see. Maybe. Thank you, Michael. Lots of tips from my video went into that repair. That's good. That's what it's there for. Your paint match was awesome. That was very impressive work. So well done on that. All right, guys. Well, that wraps up tonight. Moonlight Jate, thank you for all the funds that you sent our way. I appreciate that. That's really cool. Thank you for that. So that is, oh, Sheldon said, I'm using a fuel bag in the Mephisto. It's, I think it's a great way to go. For most aircraft that has the room and the ability to put it in, it's awesome. No UATs, no air bubbles, very cool. So thanks guys for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed the JetPower video that came out today. Hopefully you enjoyed this chat we had here and feedbacks from JetPower. Thank you guys for tuning into my videos. Thank you for supporting the channel as well too. If you're a channel member, thank you for supporting the channel. And it means the world to me, being able to do what I do and slowly build this thing up to where it's going and where it already is absolutely blows my mind. It's very cool. So I thank you guys for the support, and that's it. We'll see you in 2 weeks on this channel. Have fun. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.